Hello YouTube. Just wanted to share with you a video I made here of my iPhone, which I discovered the other day, quite bloated and pregnant, as you can see here. That was quite a surprise. I did not drop this phone at all. It was sitting in my bag, very nicely treated. Lo and behold, I picked it up and it was bloated. Funny enough, you could turn it on. Yes, you can see the battery, despite its very pronounced fat state, was still providing a charge to the phone. But I did not want to plug that in and try to charge it. It obviously looks like it has been venting something, and it in fact lifted the back of the case right off, as you can see there. So I took off the case by unscrewing the two screws at the bottom of the iPhone, which you can see there, and there is the battery. Not healthy looking. This is what a normal battery looks like, which is nice and compact and flat, and that is the replacement battery that I bought a few years ago to fix the original. And obviously it was not constructed well, and as we'll see a bit later, I'm pretty sure this thing is a cheap fake. It worked for a year, but you know, this could have been a much worse situation. Imagine if I was using this phone and it had started bloating up while it was up against my face, or if it was actually to the point where it was going to be exploding. That would not be a good thing. In any case, I tried to get the battery out of the phone without causing any more damage, and just more views here to show really how much fatter it was. And you know, when this thing decides to get big, it does not hold back. You know, it lifted the back of the case right off. Thankfully, it did not damage the rest of the phone at all, because it was actually powering up, or at least showing a signal that it was low on battery there, as you saw originally. It did not damage the back too badly. I was able, because it distorted it but not bent it fully, I was able to compress it back, which we'll see in a moment. Here I've got both batteries out, disconnected. There's a couple screws that actually connect that little connector from the battery down to the iPhone. So once those are out, you can pull the old battery out. As you can see, the big difference between the two batteries, you know, one is horrendously expanded beyond what could possibly fit inside the back of the case, and but it seems like the seal is still intact. I'm able to squish it, but that plastic wrapping around the battery is still intact, holding back any potential harmful gases or anything that might expose the contents to air, which I'm sure if it did, it would probably combust spontaneously. It doesn't react well that way. Or if any humidity got in there, you know, that would have caused the problem too. But again, this phone was totally dry, totally untouched, perfectly working order, never been dropped, nothing. It was just out of the blue, decided to expand and lift the whole back of the case off and distort everything. Okay, got the new battery in, and it's a much healthier looking state. As you can see, it's nice and flat. The phone, perfect, has no damage to it at all. The screen and everything was fine. I'm just worried more about the back of the case, because that one looked like it got bent out of shape, and there's thin, flimsy plastic tabs that hold it down. So this is the back of the case here. You can see, I lined it up, and for the most part, one side is quite good. The side that expanded is a little bit bent out of shape, and there's a plastic backing that's stuck to the, in a sort of laminated state there that was lifting off. I was able to pinch it together, and it looks like, it should come back together quite well. So after assembly, the phone seems to be in quite good shape. Really no apparent distortion to the back of the case, as I would have thought there would be based on the original state of the phone with the bloated battery in it. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm happy with the result. Like I said, I think, considering what could have happened, the fact that the phone was able to be put back together and without the other battery totally exploding, I think we got off here quite easy. Now, if you look at the battery, I'm just zooming in on the text, but it does not look right. The printing is really crappy. It's smudged. You can't see like the circles inside the letters A, R, B, the little fine print. Even just it looks blurry. So you wonder if maybe it was a cheap copy where they didn't even get the printing, done in high quality. I have not compared it to the original battery, but just something doesn't, add up here. This thing was, I think, like $7-8 on eBay, together with like a whole kit to let you change the battery, like the screwdrivers and everything. So it's obviously not an original. It's some knockoff, and the cheapest knockoff they could come up with. But like I said, it was working for a good year, and for whatever reason, it just decided to blow up on me. So not a good state. Anyway, so now this other replacement battery I put into the phone has not been charged for a while. It's been pretty much sitting on a shelf for quite some time, which is also not a good state for a lithium-ion battery to be in. You don't want it to drop too low either. It tends to have issues then also. But after plugging it in for several minutes, and I'm just fast forwarding, I'm not showing you the intervening minutes, but I'm going to be just panning around and showing you some of the instruments that I used. I have a kit which is quite handy. It has like a million different tips, screwdriver tips. There's pentagonal, screw that you use for the iPhone. It's got Phillips. It's got flathead. There's also some sponging tools, they call them. The plastic ones that you use to open up phones, especially when they have clips that hold the components together, so without scratching. So there's the spudging plastic tools. And also the tools that came with the battery. Had like a suction cup if you have to replace the screen. Again, this was quite a cheap replacement, but I did not expect it to do this. Certainly, the most maybe I would have expected it to be less milliamp hour than it claimed, right? But not to destroy potentially the phone in my face. So just be warned, especially when you're replacing batteries from stuff off eBay. You don't know what you're getting. Anyway, I did get the phone to charge up after about 10-20 minutes. As you can see, it had enough juice in the battery to power up, and now I'll just leave it to charge overnight and we'll be back in shape. But I just wanted to share my experience with this craziness. Hope you enjoy this video and give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much.